let's talk about an unhappy New York Giant here, guys. We have an unhappy one. Surprising with our great season. Devin Singletary is unhappy, apparently. So he was talking to reporters with the New York Post recently and said, I'm surprised that's just where we are right now. It's really tough. I don't know any backs getting 2 or 3 carries going crazy. A 2-back system can definitely work. I don't call the plays. I don't make that decision. This is the first year I feel this great in December. That's just what's been going on this year. Not used to it. I don't plan on getting used to it, but that's just where we're at right now. Now, I can give you a couple takeaways from this. But yeah, this is an issue in a couple ways, guys. One, you publicly spoke out against your coach. That's what you just did. It's another sign that Daboll is losing the locker room. I don't call the plays. I don't make that decision. That's what he said. Who calls the plays?
Brian Daboll. But I also took that away as like him losing the starting role. He's called for.
What talking about.
Yeah, he's calling for like a two-headed monster instead of Tracy being the guy getting all the carries.
Yeah.
So
I just and like I said, I get that part of it, and that's what he's talking about, the fact that he lost. Oh my God, your camera again? What's going on?
I have no idea. My face is stuck for a little bit.
But yeah, he's I'm gonna try to remove you and put you back in and see what happens. You just okay. Well, you're there, but you're not there. But
I'm a figment of your imagination.
Just put up your logo thing. There you go.
Yeah. I'm a real boy.
But yeah, what were we saying? Yeah, but yeah, it's like he was talking about wanting a 2-back system, but at the same point, he could say it that way all he wants. But when you say that, I don't call the plays, I don't make that decision. That's him point blank calling out the guy who does call the plays for not giving enough carries. The guy who does make that decision for not giving enough carries. And that guy is Brian Daboll. And that's the problem I have with that whole scenario is you literally just went ahead and publicly called out the guy who is supposed to be the head of the team and the boss of the team, so to speak, that keeps this thing together. And obviously he's not if you feel comfortable speaking out publicly like that.
Yeah, I mean, I also looked at it as a little bit calling him out, but it's also like, hey, like I want to play, but I'm not the one making the decision.
You just say no comment. If that's what you're going to say, then say no comment.
Yeah.
Because that's the other part of this is what he should do is this off season is when he should say something. That's what he should say. Listen, guys, this isn't working out. We got to figure out a way to end this. Whether it be you cut me and I take a pay cut so it's doable, it doesn't hurt you, or you guys trade me, whatever the case may be, this is not working. And that's not difficult to have that conversation. It happens all the time in off seasons here. But I'll say this, Singletary, if you want some more carries, guess what? Your boy Tyrone Tracy Jr. is getting almost another yard per carry additional to you.
Yeah.
That's the problem. That's why you're not getting in the field. Couple that up with the fact that you've had, the same amount of fumbles in, 60% of the carries. He's had a couple fumbles earlier on, that's where it's at. And I get it. Like, it's frustrating for a guy who's succeeded elsewhere. The success just isn't there right now for him. And because of that, he's not getting the carries. And that's the way it should be. Because this should be about developing Tyrone Tracy Jr. for when this team is good. Because he is part of the future. Singletary is not. So,
he's supposed to be a bridge.
Yeah. I mean, it's supposed to be at least a 2-year bridge, but at this point, it's going to be a 1-year bridge. Again, he's 27 years old, so he'll be 28 next year. That's time where you go, maybe he's getting towards the end.
Yep.
And I don't mean that as far as he's done. I mean that as maybe he wants to go somewhere where he can use the rest of his years that he is still good and actually get carries and actually do things in this league.
I hear it's only going to be 2
I don't
years.
think he's washed. I don't think he's washed, but I think he's got to go to get that done. Now, if you cut him, you only save $250,000 next year. Giants aren't going to cut him. It doesn't make sense to cut him to save $250,000. Now, if we cut him post June 1st, we save $1.5 million. You do that technically, what I would say is what you got to do is try to trade him, because then you save almost $4 million. And when I say trade him, you don't tell me a team won't give you like a 6th-round pick for him or something like that just to get rid of him. And I mean that negative, like nothing just to get rid of him. I mean, let's be honest, it's a running back. Running backs don't have a lot of value. That's where I'm at.
Especially after this year when he's not the starting guy. So.
But somebody will still take him just because he's a proven veteran running back. So let him go somewhere else. Let him try to make it there. And then we get a little cap relief as well. Let's be honest, we had to sign a lot of players this offseason. We could use the cap relief. And then we just draft somebody else at that point this offseason. I mean, this year to go ahead and replace Singletary. That's what he should do. Keep drafting guys.
Yep. Draft.
Sign guys off, sign undrafted guys. Because in the end, the system is just as important as the running back. You can have success with cheap running backs. This is a decision we made to do, and yet we still paid him, which makes absolutely no sense whatsoever to me. Like, you're literally going to have a cap number of $6 million and change next year and the year after, but you didn't want to pay Saquon.
It's also half the amount of what you would have paid Saquon.
I get it, but looking around, does that look like a good idea right now? Considering what he's given you, considering what Saquon's doing, and again, I know Saquon wouldn't do that with the Giants. Don't get me wrong, but you're telling me that he's worth $6 million next year?
Yeah,
it's not.
No,
he's not. And hindsight is 20/20. I'm not blaming Shane on that move. I'm really not. I just think that if he's unhappy, he's not part of the future, then move on. Let him go. And I'm sure somebody will take him for something.
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, you might be able to squeeze out like a 5th-round pick to go to somewhere else, the team that needs. But like you said, you settle for a 6th-round pick to clear $4 million in your cap. You do that 100% all day long.
And you got to also remember in this whole thing too, like right now we're going to have the 1st overall pick. We may end up with the 2nd overall pick the way things are going there. But let's say we surprise ourselves even and win a game somehow. You might need some picks to trade to go ahead and move up. And if that's the case, don't get me wrong, the 6th-round pick or something like that, our 5th-round pick you get for Singletary would not get you over the edge. But
no, you use it
to have.
Yeah, but you use it as trade values.
Trade value. Well, even that, just to have another body that you can draft at that point, so you don't have to keep on signing free agents at that point. I mean, that's something what happens. I mean, you do have to go ahead and get a lot of people. You want to need depth pieces. You need back end pieces. You don't need just top loaded. So you just look at it that way. Is you're going to get a player maybe with that could be part of your bench or be a special teamer or, something along those lines there, But you know what the interesting thing is? You know who our 5th-round pick was last year, right?
Tracy.
Exactly. You know who our 6th-round pick was? Our team leader in interceptions, Darius Muasau. Granted, he's got 1, but still.
Yeah.
He's been providing at least something. He's been a backup linebacker / special teams guy. And listen, there's still a value in that. So like I said, take your pick, move on, draft another guy later on, and call it a day. Hell, you might have used that draft pick to get him.
Maybe.
You may. You never know. So
if you like that clip, then you will love the full episodes too. Find us on your favorite podcast app and look for us on all your favorite social media platforms.
Thanks so much.
Please, I'm begging you. Please